It was a long process, to create a mansion of this magnitude. It was a pretty progressive piece of architecture in its day. That period between the Civil War and the turn of the century, Ionia's growth was just phenomenal. People don't realize that it was just a little two-horse muddy town. But after the Civil War, after those veterans came back and they said, I've seen the world now, there's no reason we can't do that here. So they had the river, they had the state road, they had the railroad, and they had the attitude to really make Ionia take off. And John Blanchard was right in the midst of all that. John C. Blanchard was one of those self-made men. He literally ran away from home, came to Michigan to seek his fortune, and by the time he was 19, he had read the law and passed the bar and was already a lawyer, had already invested in property all around mid-Michigan, and that just cascaded through his lifestyle. John and his wife, Harriet, were definite socialites in the community. They entertained people from state government and international visitors and so on here at this house. The first time that I'd visited the house was back in the 1970s, right after the Historical Society bought it from the previous owners. And the house was in a shambles at the time. It had been not lived in for a while, and the family had auctioned off all the contents, and so it was just a big empty house. And so there were a lot of challenges that way to just kind of get things safe, get things secure, to try to stabilize the environment, because we knew that we were going to have a lot of antique things in there, and ultimately restore the house into the 1880s look. Within the John C. Blanchard house, the main floor and the second floor are restored to what a Victorian mansion would have been like. We try to recreate that ambiance that would have been there when the Blanchards lived here through those first 50 years of its life, and try to give people a sense of what it was like. So we give tours of the house, talk about the architecture and the people that lived there. We also have a lot of information and artifacts about local businesses that have been around for a couple hundred years in some cases. We have a lot of lifestyle information. We have artifacts from the 40s and 30s. So we can tell the whole story of the town from lifestyles and economics and so on. The Historical Society deliberated, as I think most do, about what their mission statement should be. First is preservation, not only of the Blanchard House, but of all the Ionia history and artifacts that we have in there. Probably even more important than that is when we talk about education. From the retirees that might be coming back for nostalgic reasons to remember what Ionia was like back in the day, to flocks of third graders that come through to just learn a little bit about the heritage of the community and what was Ionia like 100 years ago, 200 years ago and such. So just to be able to convey that to people and give them a sense of progress, a sense of heritage, hopefully a sense of pride in the community about some of the types of folks that made this community what it is and what it was. We got two big challenges here in Ionia. One is that, unlike a lot of historical societies and museums, the Ionia County Historical Society is entirely run on donations and contributions, fundraisers that we do ourselves. So we have to earn whatever we can earn to just simply keep the lights on, keep the insurance paid, and all those basic things it takes to keep an institution rolling. But a larger challenge than that really is participation. People have been distracted by other things in their lives, and it's difficult to get the crowds of volunteers it really takes to run an organization like this. So our mission then becomes not so much just dealing with the general public, but recruiting from the general public to say all these artifacts and all this history and all this beautiful mansion here could go away. And it takes people to keep it here. And I, for one, think that's a pretty important thing, and hopefully we can instill people with that same message. But we're very, very fortunate to have a supportive community and a terrific facility here that we can take care of. And it just feels very personally enriching to be able to be a part of that.